actually, yes and no. I was just going to say in context, I spent 17 years of my life running the Senate Steel Caucus for John Hines and Jay Rockefeller. I bled and died several times for the steel industry, and I've got a lot of scars to prove it in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. And I have enormous enthusiasm for the industry, which is not to say I agree with everything that Linda said. And I'm, where you stand in part depends on where you sit, and I sit in a different place right now. But I want to confine myself to a legal-related comment because that's sort of what the panel's about. And in a sense, whether or not you agree with the larger policy comments that Linda made, it seems to me it poses kind of a dilemma for the inevitable Article 20 debate and for the chapeau, because it seems to me if you look at past litigation, Andy can comment on this better than I can, one of the key questions that always comes up in this case is, if you're going to take some kind of a restrictive measure, why are you taking it? And if you're going to take it for competitiveness reasons or trade-related reasons, and if you're going to articulate that that's the reason why you've done so, you really are undermining your argument in the WTO, because what they're going to be looking for is, are you taking your action here to deal with, for environmental reasons? And if you are taking your action for environmental reasons, and you can, in this context, and you can demonstrate that, you have a stronger case in the Article 20 chapeau argument, which is really where this is going to come down to in the end as far as litigation is concerned. I think we've agreed with that. But if you've got a legislative and rhetorical track record that suggests that this is really about competitiveness and jobs and the survival of manufacturing in this country, all of which it may be, and all of which perhaps it should be, but one of the consequences of injecting those elements into the debate is we undercut ourselves at a later point at the WTO.
If I can make just a comment back on that. I think I prefaced all my remarks by saying you're going to have dual leakage. You're going to have the leakage of the jobs in the manufacturing going offshore, but you're going to have the carbon there going offshore, the emissions are going offshore, because that production will still exist. That's key. So I think they're interlinked, and if I didn't make that clear.
No, I'm just saying, I guess I'm just saying, if you want to win, give a different speech, because a lot of it's going to be about what the record shows.
Let me ask Jake if you could